welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. 2 Kings 5 gives us a story of Naaman the leper, who was a general in the Syrian army, but who nevertheless fell ill with dreaded leprosy. There was an Israelite maid who had been carried captive into his land, and who would refer him to Elisha as a source for a cure. And Elisha sent a messenger unto Naaman, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth and went away. He was the commander-in-chief of the army of Damascus, high in favor in Ben-Hadad's court. His reputation and renown were on every tongue, but he was a leper. There is a but in every fortune, as there is a but in every character. So he comes to the prophet's humble home in Samaria, and we find him waiting, a beggar at the gate, with his cavalcade of attendants and a present worth many thousands. In his other actions, we find Elisha gentle, accessible, forgetful of his dignity. Here his conduct would be discourteous if there were not a reason for it. He is reserved, unsympathetic, keeps the great man at arm's length, will not even come out to see him, sends a curt message with not a word more than was necessary. So the hot soldier begins to explode. If the prophet had come out and chanted incantations over him and made mystical motions with his hands above the shining patches of his leper skin, he could have believed in a cure. But there was nothing in the injunction given to support his superstition. His patriotic feelings were roused. If he was to be cleansed by bathing, the crystal streams of his own city, the glory of Damascus, are better than the muddy Jordan of Israel. So he flounced away and would have sacrificed his hope of cure to his passion if his servants had not brought him to common sense by their cool persuasion. He would have done any great thing which he had been set to do. He had already done a great many things in taking the long journey and being ready to expend all that vast amount of treasure. And so surely there need be no difficulty in his complying, were it only as an experiment with the very simple and easy terms which the prophet had set out. This whole story shows us as in a mirror what human nature would like the gospel to be, and how we sick humans quarrel with our medicine and stumble at those very characteristics of the gospel which are its main glory and the secret of its power. God's cure puts us all on the same level. Naaman wished to be treated like a great man who happened to be a leper. Elisha treated him like a leper who happened to be a great man. I thought he surely would come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God. The whole question about his treatment is, which is most important, his disease or his dignity? He thought it was his dignity. The prophet thought it was his disease. And so he served him as he would have served anyone in similar circumstances. Just like this, Christianity brushes aside all the surface differences of people and goes in its treatment of them straight to the central likenesses, the things which in all mankind are identical. There are the same wants, the same sorrows, the same necessity for the same cleansing beneath the First Lady's gowns and the Senator's tuxedo as there is under the workman's jacket and the beggar's rags. Whatever differences of culture, station, of individuality there may be, these are only surface and accidental. We're all alike in this, that we have sinned and come short of the glory of God, and our great physician, in his great remedy, insists upon treating us all just like patients. Surely we've been transgressors, and if so, that is the most important thing about us, far more important than any diversities. Clearly, the prophet did not want to be seen as a source of the cure, and so with God's ministers, we should remain in the background and hold up faith in the blood of Christ as the streams that seem so muddy to a proud world, but in reality can cause the hideous, leprous places to come again as a child's skin. Have you talked to him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.